Welcome, Stache, to another episode of Stache Sports. Wow, we had some pretty good basketball games yesterday. The first game we got was Miami-Purdue. For the longest time, the University of Miami was in that game, but Purdue pulled away near the end and ended up winning that game 79-69. But Miami was holding their own for quite a while until Purdue got away with the lead. But Miami had a pretty good basketball season. Last year, Miami's basketball team wasn't good, they kept saying. But Miami made it this far and put up a game against Purdue, but came up too short near the end. So Purdue has moved on to the next round. The Big Ten looked really good yesterday. We'll get more into the Big Ten games later on. Iowa State beat Kentucky, the Big 12 team. Iowa State won 82-63. Kentucky had a lot of turnovers, one of the most turnovers Kentucky's had in a game, I think they said, in a tournament game in their history. They're not going to win games with turnovers. So Iowa State won. Tennessee upset Virginia. The number 6 seed upset the 3 seed, 79-17. That was the game until the end, but then Tennessee started pulling away. Iowa upset Florida. And yes, last year's champion was the Florida Gators, and they're looking to repeat, but the bid has ended in the round of 32. So the champions have bound out in the round of 32, so we'll have a new basketball champion this year. It's going to be interesting to see. The Sweet 16 starts next week, but we'll see. But Iowa looked pretty good. Florida had a bad near the end and had bad defense near the end, and probably should have better defense with one of the best teams, but Florida bowed out. That was an upset. Another Big Ten team going to the Sweet 16, the Iowa Hawkeyes. What a game that was, though. Arizona beat Utah State 78-66. Utah State kept it in there, and numbers made it close near the end, but Arizona pulled away with that one. UConn, UCLA, that was a close game until UConn started pulling away, and UConn won. Alabama smashed Texas Tech last night. That wasn't close. St. John's, Kansas, that was a good game. St. John's looked like they're going to be up one by quite a bit, but with like 2 minutes left, Kansas on like a 25-2 tear and tied the game. And St. John's won it by a last-second layup to go on to the Sweet 16. And Rick Pitino going to Sweet 16 again. Rick Pitino is the coach that's been retired plenty of times and had scandals, but he's going to the Sweet 16, so that's good. Also on Saturday, Duke beat TCU 81-58. I mean, I know that score is high, but that game was a close game throughout most of the game until Duke pulled away near the end. Arkansas and High Point, that game was good. That was one of the most point average in the game since like 1995. But High Point looked really good. They fell near the end, but High Point had a great season and made themselves quite known as one of the Cinderella teams, but they came up short. But the Arkansas Razorbacks of the SEC will be in the Sweet 16 now. Michigan beat St. Louis 95-72. Michigan's looking like the team to beat right now. Michigan Wolverines look like the team that's going to maybe win it all, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Houston's doing pretty good too. Houston's out of the Big 12, and we're the 8th American Conference of the UCF Knights, and they're looking really good, and they're in the Sweet 16 yet again. They have a real good basketball program up here in Houston, and they've always. Michigan State won. That's another Big Ten team over Louisville, 77-69. Texas upset Gonzaga. That's a big one. Gonzaga was projected to go pretty far in this contest, but number 11 Texas, who had a playing game against NC State, and then play BYU, upset BYU and Gonzaga, and it's going to Sweet 16. That's an SEC school, but that's nicer than best in everybody's bracket, though. Illinois beat VCU. And Nebraska and Vanderbilt. That game was good. Vanderbilt had a shot from midcourt, but it went in and out. So Vanderbilt didn't go on, and Nebraska made it for the first time in program history to the Sweet 16. But that's nice to see them make it to the Sweet 16. So now the Sweet 16 games start on Thursday with Arkansas and Arizona, Texas and Purdue, Iowa and Nebraska, Illinois and Houston, and then on Friday with the other games. We'll get more into that later on when we do the Stache Sports predictions for those. But that's a good Sweet 16. Some upsets. People didn't expect Iowa to make it to the Sweet 16 or Texas, but those are two teams that are upsetting everybody. I mean, I know good conferences, so they're not really Cinderella teams because they're in good conferences, but they're teams that are making noise and making people's brackets busted because they're going up against other teams and making noise. But we'll see what happens. But we'll see what happens. Those are all your updates on the Jackson Smith-Njigba for the Seattle Seahawks signed a record-breaking deal, making him the highest-paid receiver now. We'll see how long that lasts, because other players who need money, we'll get that later on, are going to want more money than Jackson Smith-Njigba got, or JSN for the Seattle Seahawks, the superstar receiver from the Super Bowl champions. I mean, he is a good receiver. He won the Offensive Player of the Year, but this is a lot of money. 4 years and $168.8 million, with averaging $42.45 million per year. At $120 million guaranteed. That's a lot of money guaranteed. That's one of the highest guaranteed contracts, I think, in NFL history, too. With $120 million guaranteed, that's a lot of money to play football and a lot of money to be guaranteed. But who breaks it next? Because people like Jahmyr Gibbs for the Detroit Lions needs a contract, or some of these other superstars are nearing the end of the contracts might get a new contract. Who breaks it next? Who's going to be the next size paid? Because if you watch the NFL for long, Jackson Smith-Njigba says the first one, and then a couple weeks from now it's going to be somebody else, and then somebody else after that. I wonder what the next big domino is going to fall. But this has been a crazy NFL season. That's a lot of money to pay for a player. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, or JSN, I think he's worth it. I think he's going to be a really good receiver for Seattle, and I think he's going to be one of the difference makers that makes some noise in his NFL career. So I think that's a good addition for Seattle, but that's a lot of money. I also saw a report today that the Steelers signed Travis Homer, a special teams player for the Chicago Bears. That's good. He might be able to replace Miles Killebrew or Calvin Austin on special teams and kickoff and punt returns. If he's a decent returner, that might be good for the Steelers to get good yards so Aaron Rodgers, whoever the quarterback is, doesn't have to go far on the field. But we'll see what he does. But congratulations right now, Travis Homer, coming to the Steelers, if it's true from what Adam Schefter reported. But I can't wait to see who's next to get the next big contract. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba deserves the money, no doubt. He's getting more paid now than other receivers like DK Metcalf, even Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, now Michael Pittman Jr.'s contract's not, or DK Metcalf's contract's not looking as bad compared to that. I mean, that's a good contract, but he's getting paid more now than Jamar Chase and all these other superstar receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see who tries to set the market next. One of these NFL teams and players are going to set the market, and they're going to try and they somehow work around the budget so they can keep their players and make a good team. But we'll see. I mean, that's a lot of money. They're paying a quarterback $100 million now, and they're paying a receiver a lot of money too. I mean, and they lost their running back, Kenneth Walker, but they do have Charbonnet that's one of the good running backs. So maybe they draft somebody or pick somebody up in free agency to pair well with Charbonnet this year. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what the Seahawks do, but that's a good addition for the Seattle Seahawks on getting Jackson Smith-Njigba. The Pittsburgh Penguins split the series weekend. They've won finally in the shootout on Saturday against the Winnipeg Jets, but they blew a big one yesterday against Carolina. For some reason, the Penguins have really trouble against Carolina this year. The Carolina Hurricanes are number one in the division, or in our conference, so I know why it is hard for the Penguins to be in that predicament, but we'll see what happens. I hope they can come back and be stronger, but the Penguins need to bounce back after that game. I mean, I know the Carolina Hurricanes are number one in the division, but the Penguins need to start strong and keep on going. We have a day off today, but other teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets are starting, and New York Islanders are starting to come to our tail because we messed up so many games this year at the beginning of the year when the Penguins had a lead but blew it. If they would have kept some of their leads and didn't blow the leads they had in the game, maybe the Penguins would do something. Maybe the Penguins would be in a better spot right now, but they're still in a playoff spot and still can get the wild card maybe, but we don't want to mess around with the wild card. We want to keep winning and make sure we can get the number 2 spot so we have an easier opponent in the first round. But I know if we make it, we shouldn't worry about who our opponent is and try to beat whoever our opponent is, since the Penguins haven't been in the playoffs for quite a while. When the Penguins are making the playoffs, it seems like every year. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. with the Pittsburgh Penguins now and see what they do. I hope they bounce back. I mean, I know they have trouble against Carolina, but that's just one game. They have a day off, and I think they play the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow. But we'll see what they do. Let's hope the Penguins can bounce back. Let's hope Evgeny Malkin can score more goals, and Crosby can score more goals. But what's happened with Letang this year? Letang, to my opinion, Letang hasn't been looking so good. Maybe he's getting older or something, but Letang needs to show up and look good for the Penguins. If we can get good Letang in the playoffs and good Letang right now, it might help the Penguins' mojo and help get more points on the board. But Letang needs to start showing up this year. Or they need to maybe move on from him. But we'll see. I mean, I really like Letang. I mean, I know he's getting older, so maybe it's just that, but he really needs to start playing better. The last couple games, I wasn't really impressed with Letang's play, but we'll see. We'll see. My picks today is the Senators over the Rangers. But the Rangers aren't doing so good. It's kind of funny that the Penguins are doing a lot better this year, and people thought the Penguins would be in a rebuild, but it seems like the Rangers are more in a rebuild. And the reason that Mike Sullivan left is because Mike Sullivan wanted to win now and not be more of a rebuild. But the Penguins look like they can maybe make a deep playoff run if they can get their act together and play better and play consistent and win consistent games and have good goaltending for consistent games. They look like they can get a deep playoff run, but that's just funny how the tables have turned, and Dan Muse has made our team look like a playoff run, and the Rangers are looking like more of a team that's rebuilding. But I think the Senators win tonight. But I just think that's interesting. I mean, I know Mike Sullivan's a good coach and all. He took us to a couple of Stanley Cups and finally won a gold medal for the United States. So I think he belongs in the NHL Hall of Fame as a coach. But no offense against him. I just think it's interesting. The Celtics lost a tough one last night to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's hope they bounce back. Jason Tatum didn't look so hot last night. But, we got to give him some slack because the guy's been out for quite a while with a major injury when he tore his Achilles last year in the playoffs. So he can have some off games. But the Celtics are still in a really good spot in the Eastern Conference. So if they can split some games, if they miss some games of Western Conference teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's not going to hurt them that much. I think the Pistons beat the Lakers tonight. I think the Magic beat the Pacers. I think the Thunder beat the Sixers. I think the Spurs beat the Heat. I think the Hawks beat the Grizzlies. I think the Bulls beat the Rockets. The Raptors beat the Jazz. The Warriors beat the Mavericks. The Nets beat the Trailblazers. And the Clippers beat the Bucks. But we'll see. Those are interesting games. The Spurs might do better. Victor Yamba for the Spurs looking really good. The Heat have been on a decent run tear right now, but I think Victor Yamba and the Spurs just do better. The 76ers aren't that good. I think Oklahoma City is one of the best teams in the East. I think they show tonight why they are, and I think they take care of the 76ers in Philadelphia. I know it's going to be a time change. The Pacers aren't that good this year without Tyrese Halliburton, so I think the Magic are going to do good in that game. And I just think the Pistons are too good this year, even though they lost one of their players. I think they're going to be too good and be able to beat the Lakers tonight, but we'll see. Yesterday in NASCAR, Michael Jordan's Tyler Reddick, or whatever his name is, won the race yet again. That's his fourth race in 6 races so far. That's impressive that Michael Jordan's won that many races so far in the NASCAR as a manager, or whatever he is, to that owner of the car, or team manager, whatever he is, owner of the team, whatever he is. But that's nice to see Michael Jordan win NASCAR. He's won a lot of basketball. Now he's winning at the NASCAR level. Maybe he is the greatest sports athlete of all time. I know he's not a racer. I know his driver is just having really good luck this year and having really good cars. But Michael Jordan is part of the team, so he is a champion. This is a joke, so don't come at me. He is. I know he's not racing in the NASCAR, but he has one. Baseball season is just around the corner, and I saw later this week that the Pittsburgh Pirates sent down Connor Griffin. I don't know how I feel about this. I think they really need to bring up Connor Griffin on day one and started my day one on Thursday now. Can't believe baseball season's just around the corner. Trying to start my fantasy baseball league back up with some of my buddies, but I can't believe that baseball is just around the corner. It seems like just yesterday the United States lost in the World Baseball Classic, and I thought we had a lot more spring training left, but baseball is just around the corner. Paul Skeens will be Pirates opening day on Thursday, and we'll get more into the lineup later when we know the lineup. But like I said, I really wish they would have kept Connor Griffin up there. I hope they don't keep Connor Griffin down too long. And yes, I know he's only 19, and he has yet to have a bat in AAA baseball with the Indianapolis Indians, and that's their name, the Indianapolis Indians. So maybe they want to give him some time down there. But I think the division's wide open this year. So the Pirates need to hope they start off hot. They can bring him up, but they start off hot and not start off too cold and mess around too long to where it's not going to matter anymore if he does come up or not. So I think the Pirates need to call him up sooner rather than later and hope we have a good season. I mean, if he plays a month in AAA, that's fine or whatever, and it comes up. But we'll see. I mean, we only have a couple more days until spring training left, but the Pirates are looking pretty good. Can't wait to see what the new look Pirates are going to do. I can't wait to see what Azuna does for the Pirates. The guy we got from the Atlanta Braves, who's the DH now. I know McCutcheon's hitting well in spring training, but how many bats is McCutcheon getting? I mean, he might not be getting that many at bats, so we'll see what Azuna can do when there's counts in the regular season. But we need other people that used to be Pirates last year to do good. Like, we need O'Neal Cruz to start hitting well and coming back into form like Cruz is doing. Cruz is doing real good in hitting and having a good number of home runs before the All-Star break, but then fell apart. We need to have a good, healthy Cruz and have him keep on hitting those Cruz missiles into Pittsburgh and getting us more hits and making it look like he's a player worth the money we paid him and show up. We also need Brian Reynolds, who we paid the money to get out of his slump from last year. Brian Reynolds didn't look so good last year. Maybe he can turn around his slump and look a lot better this year. But we'll see what the Pirates can do. I can't wait to see Paul Skeens pitch and these other pitchers. I think we're going to have a good rotation this year. It's going to be interesting to see if Bubba Chandler can live up to the hype that it is. But Bubba Chandler's the fifth game starter. And Mitch Keller, if he can stay healthy and stay strong the whole year and not fall out near the middle of the year, that'd be great too. But we'll see what the Pirates do. But we'll see what the Pirates do this year. I mean, like I said, I think our division's wide open. I don't think the Cardinals and Reds are going to be that good this year. I think the Cardinals are more in a rebuild season, and the Reds might be up there, might not be up there. So it's really just going to be between us, the Cubbies, and the Brewers. I mean, the Cubs are going to be good this year. Probably Brewers will be good, but I think we have a good shot. I mean, we did get a lot of better hitters. We did get Brandon Lau, but had a lot of home runs last year for the Tampa Bay Rays. So let's hope we can do that in PNC Park. And a couple years ago, Marcell Ozuna was like one of the top players in the MVP voting. So if we can get back to that form he was a couple years ago in Atlanta, that'd be greatly appreciated for us Bucco fans. And we'll definitely like him over McCutcheon because he'll be doing a lot more hitting and getting a lot more people on base. So when our best pitcher, Paul Skeens, comes in, he doesn't have a 500 record and has a lot better than the 500 record at the end of the season like he did last year. That's what really hurt the Pirates last year. The Pirates had trouble last year with trying to get people on bases and people hitting. We have people hitting with 100 batting averages. That shouldn't have cut in Pittsburgh. People shouldn't be hitting that bad in Pittsburgh with one of the best pitchers on the mound. So let's hope that Brian O'Harn, the new guys, can get the other Buccos back up to speed. I mean, I know we're going to have trouble at third base. We'll see how good Jared Triola does at third base. Hopefully Jared Triola can do pretty good at third base. But I don't know. I mean, he has a good glove, but he needs to get his bat a lot hotter. Or maybe we need to look to see if we can try to trade for a third baseman or see if we can pull one up from the minor leagues. I mean, maybe when we ever call Connor Griffin up, maybe they can switch him out for Nick Gonzalez. And Nick Gonzalez can play third base sometimes with Jared Triola, and maybe that might help. Or maybe Jared Triola's bat might have showed up this year in spring training and showed up in the regular season. But we'll see. Also, we need our catcher's bat to show up. But Paul Skeens love. He's one of the catchers that doesn't have a good hitting bat. But if he can start with his bat, that'd be good too. But like I said, we need people like Brian Reynolds. That's one of our more well-known players to start hitting well, and O'Neal Cruz. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the outfield because because the password is looking really good this year in the outfield. So we'll see if they bring him back down to the minor leagues when they have their final cuts. And then Jake Magnum PI, whatever his name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. We got from Tampa Bay Rays also with Brandon Lau. He's been looking really good and hitting the ball a lot in spring training I've been seeing. So it'll be interesting to see what the Pirates do with him if they bring him in the outfield. Some reports think they might have Ryan O'Hearn in the outfield and O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds, which is well known. So we know Brian Reynolds and Cruz is going to be there, but they think Ryan O'Hearn might take the last spot. But we'll see. I mean, Ryan O'Hearn also plays first base. Maybe they might move him to one of the bases. But we do have Spencer Horowitz, but it's looking pretty good. I mean, Spencer Horowitz was hitting the ball in the World Baseball Classic, so last time he can get hits. I mean, even he didn't really play against the United States. O'Neal Cruz is hitting bombs for the Dominicans, so last time he can hit the home runs for us too, and last time he can get back to a good season and look like an MVP. I wonder who's going to be an MVP for the Pirates this year, but it's not named Paul Skeem. But that'll be interesting to see. But we'll see. We'll see. But we'll see. The Pirates game start on Sunday. They play the amazing New York Mets on Thursday afternoon. We'll see what happens. Notre Dame is upsetting Iowa State in the women's basketball 50-37 going to the last quarter. Or 7 minutes left in the first quarter and going to the last quarter. We'll see if Notre Dame or Ohio State can pull back, but that might be a little bit of an upset. A 6 seed over 3 seed in women's basketball. Kentucky's winning 14-7 now. Ooh, wow. UConn's probably going to beat Syracuse. Vanderbilt's going to beat Illinois. South Carolina's going to beat USC. UCLA is going to beat Oklahoma State. Virginia beat Iowa. That's an upset. Virginia beat Iowa 83-75. That's an upset in the ladies' sports. That was a good game. Some of these other ladies' games have not been that good. And some of these ladies' teams have been beating these other teams pretty bad. But that's a close game, 83-75. Even Louisville beat Alabama 63-75. The ladies tied will not be in the conference no longer. Texas beat Oregon 100-58 on Saturday. Michigan State beat NC State 92-63. LSU beat Texas Tech 100-47. Duke ladies beat Baylor 69-46. TCU ladies beat the Washington ladies 62-59. And the North Carolina ladies won 77-64. Another Minnesota won 65-63. Oklahoma beat Michigan State ladies. But this is ladies basketball. I mean, they have a good bracket too, but sometimes they don't have many upsets. And UConn wins a lot, but we'll see what happens to the ladies. I mean, they have some upsets this year, like I said before. But we'll see. I mean, some of these games are closer, but some of these games, like I said, have been kind of blowouts. But I've been watching more of the men's brackets because those games have been really good. Can't believe that St. John's game yesterday. I really thought that St. John's was going to win that game by a lot, and then Kansas came back. I mean, I picked Kansas to win, so I was hoping Kansas would win, and they almost came back and won. But that was a great game yesterday. I mean, we've had a lot of good games this year in March Madness. I know people are saying the NIL might make it lesser with mid-major, but High Point put up quite the game on Saturday night. If you guys watched that game, that was a great game too. That was a great basketball game to see High Point do that's good from North Carolina. I mean, who would have thought High Point would have made it a game? I mean, we had some blowouts last night, like Texas Tech, Alabama. That was kind of a blowout game and not fun to watch. Let's do like Alabama. I mean, it was a good game if you like Alabama. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this year because we won't have a repeat champion because the Florida Gators are out of it this year. So it's going to be interesting to see. I can't believe the Florida Gators lost. With all that defense and all that high-powered, they got upset. I mean, it is one exciting moment, and it is come down to the last shot. But you do like that in men's basketball when the games come down to last second heaves or last second court shots to see who wins. But that's why it's called March Madness. Now we have a couple of days off until Thursday when March Madness starts again. We did a round of 16, Sweet 16 this week and the round of Elite 8 this week. And then next week will be the Final Four and championship game. Be interesting to see who wins. A lot of people still think Michigan's going to win. Maybe Virginia wins. Oh, wait, Virginia's not in it. Excuse me. Maybe Duke wins. Maybe St. John's wins. That's going to be a good game. Duke and St. John's play each other. That's going to be a good game. I can't believe that Rick Pitino, who's been out of college basketball and been in college basketball, had taken all these teams so really high. He's had a lot of success with different teams. Rick Pitino could be one of the greatest coaches. I mean, his son coaches too, Xavier. But it is nice to see Rick Pitino doing good. I mean, Rick Pitino has been with a lot of different schools, but we'll see what he does. We'll see what Rick Pitino does. Also, it's going to be interesting to see what Nebraska does. Nebraska's never been to the Sweet 16. I mean, they played in the Big Ten, but they were more on the football school way back when. The football program hasn't been so good the last couple of years. But the Nebraska Cornhuskers men's basketball team made the Sweet 16 for the first time. And some other teams like St. John's made it for the first time since 1990. I mean, that was a great shot by the last second court shot by Darling to make it 2 points. That guy's going to be etched in history, in St. John's basketball history. It'll be well known everywhere. I mean, if he goes to restaurants around St. John's University, he might not have to pay for his meals because he helped his team win the championship. Also, Iowa upsetting Florida. No one really saw that coming. That was a wild game last night, too. People don't see Iowa upsetting the University of Florida, who won last year. And Iowa hasn't been in it since like 1992, but Iowa State also made it. So now both Iowa teams are in it, Iowa and Iowa State. That's going to be a wild game, too. But we'll get to more of those games later on this week in Stache Sports when we talk more about the games later on when they come up on the TV. When they come up later on. We have baseball starting on Wednesday, I think. I can't believe that baseball season's right around the corner. We'll talk more about the Pirates, too, and what I think the Pirates' win total will be this year before the season starts. I think they're going to be really good this year. I think they might be on the edge of a playoff team this year, but we'll have to talk more about that later in the other episodes before the baseball season starts. And maybe we'll finally get to see who the opening day roster is. We already know the opening day pitcher is going to be Paul Skeens, which was obvious in the loan. But Paul Skeens, our best pitcher, will be on opening day. But we don't know what the lineup is. I mean, nobody knows some of the lineup. Like, we know O'Neal Cruz will most likely play. And Brian Reynolds will play. And others. But we just don't know which others will play right now. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see who plays. But I think they're going to have a good year this year. We'll talk more about the Pirates tomorrow when they play the Colorado Avalanche after they have a day off, which is much needed. I mean, they didn't look good yesterday. Maybe they were tired from playing a great overtime game on Saturday and finally winning a shootout. But they pretty much need to start bouncing back. But we'll see. I am excited about Travis Homer to the Steelers. I mean, I think it's going to be good. He's a good returner. But we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes we make the team, but we'll see. The NFL draft's less than a month away now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the draft and what happens in the season. He's going to be the next big NFL superstar to get paid multi-million dollars to break the bank and make it well known that he's the highest paid player. Right now, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba, but how long would... Right now, it's JSN or Jackson Smith and Jigba, but how long would that last? How long until the next receiver gets a big contract? It's going to be interesting here in the NFL. I mean, it's been an interesting offseason so far. We've had a lot of ways to see in the offseason, but we'll see what happens with that. But thank you for watching every episode of Stache Sports.